Morning. We can continue on with the how to eat fried worms, and we should be able to finish up today, so let's see what happens. Alan and Joe sat on the sofa, Tom and Billy on two straight chairs opposite them. "Now," said Alan's father, "what's this all about?" The four boys all began talking at once, accusing, recounting, explaining. "All right," said Alan's father after a while. "That's enough. Now we know it's got something to do with this bet Alan and Billy made, but Mr. O'Hara and I aren't going to get involved in that. You'll have to settle that among yourselves. You four boys have been friends too long to start fighting now," said Mr. O'Hara. "You really hurt each other. Look at yourselves. Your face is all bruised and muddy. Talk it over, work things out, and then you can shake and be friends again." Joe muttered under his breath, "I couldn't be friends with those rats." "We'll be out in the kitchen," said Alan's father. "When you've settled it, call us and we'll all go down to Friendly's for some ice cream, okay?" Billy and Alan and Tom nodded. The two fathers left the room. The boys gazed silently at each other. After a while, Alan said, "It wasn't us that scratched Tom. Billy did it." Another silence. "Did you have stitches?" Billy asked Alan. "Nah. Did you?" Billy shook his head. More silence. "You tried to cheat," said Billy. "That wasn't cheating. We were just trying to trick you." "Yeah, but before that, when you glued the two worms together, that was cheating. You would have cheated too if you'd been losing." Billy thought about it. "Okay, but look, no more cheating. I've already eaten 13 worms. You know I can eat 2 more. Heck, if I buy George Cunningham's brother's mini bike, we can all use it. We'll all have fun with it." Joe and Alan glanced at each other. "Okay," said Joe, "you win. He wins, Alan." "Yeah, but what's the use?" said Joe. "We've tried everything. I'm sick of it. Geez, we've done nothing else for almost 2 weeks. Alan scratched his eyebrow, glancing at Joe. "Yeah, but..." Joe stood up. "Come on, at least we'll get a milkshake out of it." Billy lifted the worm out of the frying pan with the cooking tongs and curled it back and forth on his peanut butter sandwich. "I bet they try something," he said. "Joe won't give up. Alan might, but Joe won't." Tom was carving his initials in the leg of the kitchen table. "Yeah, but it's not Joe's bet. What does he care? Just the same, I bet he tries something." Billy sat down at the table, turning the sandwich this way and that, looking for the best spot to take the first bite. Emily came in from the dining room. "You and Mom got a letter." Chewing, Billy opened it. Here's the letter. From Charles McGrath, MD, stands for medical doctor. "Mrs. John Forrester." And we've got their address on here. "Dear Mrs. Forrester, I've just made a distress discovery. While leafing through a medical journal before getting up to bed, I noticed an article entitled Poisons in the Home Garden, a subject which necessarily fascinates me. As I glanced through the article, a phrase caught my eye. Lumbricus terrestris, a common earthworm. I read on. "Mrs. Forrester, let me assure you, first of all, that there is no cause for undue alarm. However, you will, I am sure, be concerned to learn that, especially in the months of July and August, parents must be aware of the common earthworm, some varieties of which are known to secrete a substance which, though not malignant to the skin, is sometimes harmful if swallowed. It won't hurt your skin, cause a rash, or anything like that. Dr. A.C. Roosevelt of Hyde Park, New York, reports that 10% of the boys studied reported no ill effects except induced paralysis of the lower fulmar region. 40% reported abdominal cramping, triple vision, lasting from 2 to 3 years, and impairing school performance, and extreme lassitude. Autopsy reports have not yet been received on the remaining 50%, and so no final conclusions can be drawn, but extreme caution is urged since the blackened and pimply faces of the subjects lead one to suspect the worst. Mrs. Forrester, as your friend and family physician, I would strongly recommend that your son William eat no more worms until I return on Thursday from New York City and can give him a thorough examination. Yours sincerely, Charles McGrath, medical doctor." His hand trembling, Billy laid on the peanut butter and fried worm sandwich down the table. "Do you think..." "Wow," whispered Tom. Screen door banged. "One thing I do want to let you know, there's an awful lot of typing errors in that letter." Billy's father came into the kitchen, his tie loosened, his jacket over his arm. He laid his briefcase on the table. "It's hot," he said cheerfully. Billy staggered to the sink and feebly drew himself a glass of water. Tom and Emily watched him, awestruck. "What's the matter?" said Billy's father. Water dribbled down Billy's chin and onto his t-shirt. His mind swam. Poison? Paralysis? "Tom," said Billy's father, "what's going on?" Tom pointed at the letter lying on the table. Billy's father read it, smiled, glanced at Billy, and getting a beer out of the fridge, sat down at the table. "Well," he said to Billy, "so it fooled you, eh?" "Fooled me?" croaked Billy. 14th worm. "How could Alan and Joe know all those medical words, Mr. Forster?" said Tom. Lumbricus coreopsis? Fulmar? Do you know what fulmar really means? Tom and Billy shook their heads. "It means a bird. Seabird, I think." "Boy," said Billy, disgusted. He sat back down at the table and pulled up a sandwich. "They could be arrested, Mr. Forster," said Tom. "Couldn't they be arrested for defrauding the mails? Couldn't they?" Billy grinned and bit down on a peanut butter and fried worm sandwich. The 15th. Standing on a rusty pail, Billy peered through a crack into the horse barn. Joe was wandering about, lashing at cobwebs with a stick. Alan was slumped on a barrel, gnawing at his thumbnail. Billy went around to the door. "Hi," he said. Alan didn't look up. "Hi," said Joe. Billy glanced around suspiciously. "Take it easy," said Joe. "We concede, at least I do. He's still trying to think up something." He pointed at Alan with the stick. "Where's Tom?" said Billy. "He wouldn't eat his lunch, so his mother kept him in." Billy leaned over the platter on the orange crate and smelled the steaming southern fried worm. "Wanted to load it up with red pepper," said Joe, "but I wouldn't let him." Billy poured ketchup, mustard, and piccoli onto the platter, cut a piece of worm, dipped it in the glop, stuck it into his mouth, chewed nervously, swallowed, cut another piece. The worm tasted better than usual, sort of like kidney beans, southern fried kidney beans. "Where'd you get this one?" "Down behind Bannerman," said Joe. "From the muck," yelled Alan. "The muck. Gooey, slimy, stagnant," which means like old and stinky, muck. Billy grinned. "Yeah? You'll have to show me. This is the best one yet." Alan jumped up and kicked the barrel, clattering into the stall. Joe shrugged at Billy, grinning. Billy held up the last bite. "Ta-ra!" He swallowed it. "Okay, let me look," said Alan. "Come on." He peered into Billy's mouth. "Oh, no. Come on. There's something still stuck between your teeth there." Billy sucked noisily at his teeth. "Okay." Billy's shoulders slumped. "I can't get the money till tomorrow," he said. "Oh, geez, you know I'll have to work Saturdays for 6 months to pay it back." He trudged slowly toward the door. "Coming, Joe?" "Yeah, maybe your father won't act so bad if I'm there when you tell him." Alan stopped in the door. "Tomorrow?" he said without turning. 10 o'clock? He sounded as if he was going to cry. "Yeah, sure," said Billy. "Make it later if you want." "No, it's not going to do any good putting it off. Come on, Joe." The next chapter's called Burp. Left alone in the bar, Billy hugged himself. I won $50. He sat down on the crate grinning. Heck, I knew I could do it. I was so scared at first, waking everybody in the middle of the night. He burped. Beans. I should have made it 30 worms and $100, that stupid letter. Joe knew he was licked, though. Geez. Beans? He stood up. How come that burp tasted like beans? He'd had a hamburger for lunch and a glass of milk, then the worm. Say, they couldn't have. He snatched up the platter. Nothing left, just a few crumbs of cornmeal. Craning his neck, his eyes bugging out, straining. He burped. Beans. Again, beans. He burst out of the barn, stumbling over the sill, yelling across the field, and Alan turned. Alan started to run. Joe grabbed his arm. It was a fake. You faked it. It wasn't a real worm. Real worm? Said Joe. What you talking about? You made a worm, yelled Billy, out of beans. And tomorrow you were going to say I'd lost and I hadn't eaten 15 worms. The last one was fake. Oh, geez, said Alan. Come on, will ya? He didn't do it while I was around, said Joe. You sure what you have for lunch? Hamburger and milk. Yeah, but where'd you get the hamburger? I don't know. My mother bought it. What difference does it make? Yeah, well, a lot of hamburger you can get these days has stuff in it. You know, sausage meat, soybeans, breadcrumbs. So the butcher makes more money. Yeah, said Billy. Sure. But anyway, you come on back just to make sure. I'm going to eat another worm. Geez, suit yourself. Eat 4 more. Come on, Alan, let's go. Let him eat what he wants. Billy threw back his head, lowered the worm again. Alan charged through the door, leaped on Billy's back, flung him to the ground, punching and yelling, jumped up, grabbed Billy's feet, dragged him bump across the rough floor to the tool closet, bundled him inside, slammed the door, and locked it. Silence. Water trickling into the trough outside, Alan panting. What do you do with him? Joe asked hoarsely from the doorway. If he's in the closet, he can't eat the worm, can he? You're crazy. He'll start to yell. His parents will hear him. Yeah. Alan's hair was mussed, like all messed up. His shirt tail hung out. Yeah, said Joe, eyeing him. He will. He'll start to yell and his parents will hear him. Alan glanced wildly about, started toward the door, and turned. Not if we put him down the cistern. That's like cistern's like a big sewage tank system for water. The cistern, Joe wiped his mouth. Alan, cut it out. It's only $50. Come on. Face it, you've lost. You can't put Billy down the cistern all by himself. Suppose there's water in it. It's 15 feet deep. We can lower him down with a rope. Bang, 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 bang. Billy was kicking the tool closet door. Let me out, help, let me out. It's cheating, help. I want to get out, I want to get out, I want to get out. Bang, bang, bang. He chanted rhythmically, kicking the door with both feet at a time with his chant. Alan ran across the barn, grabbing hold of a beam, skidding it to a stop, and began to kick aside the hay and trash which littered the planks over the old cistern. Bang, 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 bang. I want to get out, I want to get out, I want to get out. Come on, Alan yelled at Joe. Help me. We were all down in it last year. How's it going to hurt him? Come on, it'll work. I'll split with you. Get some rope. Bang, 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 bang. I want to get out. Next chapter's called Out of the Frying Pan into the Oven. On his knees, yanking at the planks which covered the old cistern, thinking, I've got him. I win. He'll never. Alan felt a hand grip his shoulder, glanced up. What the devil is going on in here? Mr. Forster shouted at him. Bang, 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 bang. I want it. A confused babble of voices dying out suddenly. Now, said Mr. Forster, Alan and Joe, home, scoot. Alan and Joe crowded out the door. I've won, crowded Billy. He danced toward the platter. Nothing can. Billy, up to your room. I just got to eat this worm, Dad. Oh, I've won. Billy, up to your room. Dad, his father pointed. Dad, if I don't eat what's left, I'll lose. Alan will win. It's just 2. Now. The bet is over. You know what I've told you about this cistern. Now. Dad, I'll lose. Alan will... Then you will learn something. March. I mean, I can't even eat that last little bite. How long could it take me? What could... Billy, now. Billy kicked the bed. He'd won. All he had to do was eat 2 more bites. 2 bites. He kicked the wall. What had his father gotten so mad for? Alan had started opening his cistern, not him. Geez, he hadn't even let him explain. Twice he'd won, and then something happened. And now he was going to lose, after all he'd gone through. Nightmares, fights, thinking he had been poisoned, all for nothing. He kicked the bed. Mrs. Forster, said Tom, peering through the screen door. Could I see Billy for a minute? He's up in his room being punished, Tom. He and Joe and Alan were very naughty this afternoon. Yeah, said Tom, no kidding. What'd they do? 15th worm. Billy kicked the wall again. 2 minutes. What difference could 2 minutes have made? He leaned his forehead against the window pane, gazing dejectedly out into the backyard. He was really sorrowful. Tom's younger brother, Pete, appeared suddenly around the corner of the house, running, holding up a little yellow Easter basket. The worm, Tom. Pete had brought him a worm. The 15th worm. Billy slammed up the window. Catch, yelled Pete. Hurry. Tom's talking to your mother. He heaved a brick with a string, tied to it up to Billy. Billy caught it, hauled the string up, hand over hand. The basket came bobbing up the side of the house. Alan and Joe plunged out of the bushes. Billy snatched the tin can out of the Easter basket, plucked out a huge, squirming nightcrawler. Mrs. Forster, Alan and Joe shouted at the top of their lungs, dancing around on the lawn, waving their arms. Mrs. Forster. Too late, yelled Billy gleefully. Throwing back his head, he dropped the squirming nightcrawler into his mouth, chewed and chewed. Tom and Mrs. Forster appeared around the corner of the house. Too late, Billy yelled, still chewing. Too late, I win. He disappeared from the window. A door slammed inside the house. Trampling on the stairs, he burst out of the kitchen door, flying leap off the back steps. He rolled, scrambled up, yelling, I win! Grabbed Tom's hands. They danced round and round and round, Pete cavorting, like dancing and joining beside them. Joe and Alan slunk off through the bushes, round and round and round. Billy's mother laughed and went into the kitchen, round and round and round, till they collapsed on their backs in the grass. I win, gasped Billy to the blue, cloudless sky. I win. The epilogue. That's what happened afterwards. Billy leaned the mini bike against a tree and started down the path through the woods. Tom and Joe were already sitting by a smoldering trash fire on the riverbank, opening their lunch bags. Where's Alan? At the store? Asked Billy, flopping down next by Tom. Yeah, said Joe. He's still got 2 weeks to go. What you got for lunch? Asked Tom. Billy looked embarrassed. Worm and egg on rye. Heck, said Tom. Why can't you ever bring something somebody else likes so you can trade? Billy frowned. He opened his lunch bag. I don't know. I just can't stop. I don't dare tell my mother. I even like the taste now. He scratched his head. You know, there's something to the doctors, don't you? Do you think I could be the first person who's ever been hooked on worms? And that's the end of the story. Apparently there's a movie out about it too. Maybe one of you may have a chance to take a look at it. And at the back of the book, there's all kinds of different weird and wacky worm recipes. Worms a dirt dessert, crunchy carrot worm salad, worm pizza, green bean casserole a la worm, and wormy jello. Hope you guys enjoyed the book. I thought it was pretty funny. I'll get another one for you tomorrow. Take care.